What's up, homegirls? ¿Qué onda, morras? ¿Cómo están? Buenos días, tardes, o noches, since I don't know when you're listening to this. I hope your day is going well, or at least better than yesterday. Welcome to Te Crees Muy Muy podcast, para las homegirls who are healing, growing, y figuring life out sin plan con flow. I'm your host, aka your Chicana homegirl from Cali, Stephanie, and as always, muchísimas gracias for stopping by. It means a lot to me. And your reminder of the day. Morra, el tren no se te fue. Tú vales oro, no migajas. Agárrate las eyelashes y vámonos. Now, let's get into it. What's up, y'all? Hola, happy Monday. First Monday of Febrero. Crazy, huh? I hope you're doing well, or at least better than yesterday. ¿Cómo van your New Year's resolutions? I'm okay. I'm lagging a little bit in the spiritual department, but ahí ando trying, and also I have an ear infection, so I'm like, ugh. Anyways, hella random, I know. So today I want to talk about boundaries. Specifically, why is it so hard to set boundaries with our parents and our families as a first-gen Latina? I want to start by saying this. I don't have all the answers. Obviously, I'm not a mental health professional. I'm still learning, but I want to share what I've learned and what I've gone through trying to put boundaries with my family, especially my parents. And I want to give a quick disclaimer. I know that I have the privilege because I can afford therapy, and some of the tools that I learned, I got them from there. And also the fact que me llevo yo bien con mi familia. It's not perfect, pero nos llevamos bien. Because I know that there might be some people listening to this where their relationship with their loved ones is rocky, or maybe because you did put boundaries, they don't talk at all to you, or you don't talk to them, etc. So I want to be mindful of that, okay? As y'all know, I'm a first-gen Chicana, and I live with my parents and my younger sister. So why is it so hard to put boundaries with our parents and our family? I think part of it is because we have to teach them what boundaries are and teach them how to respect them. That's hard when we were raised with respect your parents mandan, and family over everything. There's no room for gray area, just black and white. Then you finally say something, they take it personal, you're being delicada or whatever, you feel guilty, you feel resentment, and you're back to square one. I love my parents and my sisters to death, but when you live at home with your parents, the lines get blurry. Everyone helps each other out, which sounds nice, but a lot of the time that can turn into codependency. I don't want to stereotype, but many of our parents never really got taught how to set boundaries. Maybe privacy, but that's something else. I started noticing I was feeling resentment towards my parents because they came to me for almost everything. I know it's a no-brainer, no shit, you live at home. But still, que paperwork, que phone calls, que information, que buscame esto, que hazme esto. And the weird thing is some of the time, all that stuff was in Spanish, and they still wanted me to figure it out. And I would push back and be like, Mom, Apá, Ama, está en español, and give it back to them, and they would get frustrated. And look, my parents are not dumb. They're smart people. But I think a lot of us take over because it's easier. We can translate it hella fast, we can fix it, type it, etc. We handle it. At first, it feels helpful, but over time, it becomes expected. And then it becomes guilt because son tus padres. That's how you know the codependency is growing. I see videos all the time on social media about Latinos saying how much they love their parents and would do anything for them. And what's interesting about that is that a lot of the times it's from men. And let's be real, most of the time, not all, but most of the time it's the daughters doing everything. Not always, but a lot of the time. Las hijas are the ones carrying the emotional and mental load. And then there are videos shaming people for setting boundaries, calling them ungrateful, soft, liberals, and me, we don't even do that. You guys are just soft. Just do what your parents are told, whatever. Be lucky and fortunate that you even have your parents, right? Saying your parents came here for a better life, you owe them everything, that makes no sense when it comes to boundaries. I told my therapist I was starting to feel resentment toward my parents because they came to me for almost everything. And before I could explain it, I felt like I had to say, I love my parents, they're good people. And then I was like, why do I have to say that first? And that made me realize that two things could be true at once. I love my parents, but sometimes they drive me nuts. That feels ugly to say out loud, but it's real. And I had to sit with that. Something else I started to realize is that sometimes our parents' anxiety, frustrations become our own. They get stressed out, and suddenly we're all stressed out. They want something done right now and then, and God forbid we say, espérate, lo quiero hacer después, ahorita no tengo tiempo. Then we all get frustrated, we're mad and overwhelmed. But I also think that a lot of us don't give our parents enough credit. They came to this country not knowing the language. Some of them still don't speak it completely, and some don't speak it at all. And here we are stressed out if they can find the lab by themselves to go get blood work done. I had this conversation with my dad one time. He had to go get blood work done. And I was hella stressed out at work, wondering if he got lost, how it went, if he understood que lo que tenía que hacer, right? So I told him and I say, "Apá, ¿cómo le hiciste para saber dónde estaba el laboratorio?" And he's hella looking at me, hella calmly, eating an apple. And he was like, "Pues ahí estaba una muchacha ahí en el escritorio y le pregunté, ay, los dos nos entendimos." And he started giggling. And then I was like, "Ya ves que si puedes hacerlo?" And he smiled, kind of smirked a little bit, was relieved, and walked away. When I told my therapist this, she started laughing and she said, "See, it is possible. You just have to push back a little bit." So how did I actually start setting boundaries? I had a real ass conversation with my mom. I wanted to do it with my dad, but he wasn't available when I did it. I told her these things that don't happen all the time, but when they do happen enough, I feel stressed out and frustrated, and I don't want to start feeling resentment towards them and my dad. I told her, this is how I see things, and this is what I need, not what I want. What I need, you don't have to agree with me, but I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. And vice versa. She told me some things and I understood and I listened. And I was low-key panicking when I was telling her this because I didn't know how she was going to take it, but she took it well. She listened, she understood, she agreed with me on a lot of what I said, and we came to an agreement, and that was it. But ojo, that doesn't mean that shit's perfect right now, right? I still have days where I get frustrated. I still have to push back sometimes and be more direct, not in a mean way, but in a clear way so they understand. Now, I try to have them attempt to do things at first, but I also acknowledge their limits. I can't expect them to learn technology overnight, or English for that matter. I can't expect them to understand every single piece of paperwork, so there's a balance. And also, too, y'all, like, for example, there's a time and place for everything. For example, let's just say you have to take your parents to the dentist or something, and they need to update something, and les dan un tablet, and your parents don't know how to use it. That's okay, a good moment to take over. That's fine, lo haces de volada y give it back to them, especially if the front desk is waiting, because you're not going to be like, a ver, apa, agarra la tableta, okay, le vas a picar aquí, aquí, aquí. It just, you know what I mean? Another big thing is that I don't give long explanations anymore. I'm grown. I'm like 1,000 years old, y'all. And I understand that I live with my parents, but still, if I want to do or go somewhere, I just do it. I let them know, but I don't ask for permission, obviously. I'm not young anymore per se, right? And when I went to Poland, I was hella tripping because I was like, I don't know how my dad's gonna take it. He's gonna get worried. He's gonna be like, vas a andar allá sola, you don't know the language, etc. And he was super duper happy for me, and I was like, damn, I can't believe I was like stressing about what he was gonna say. He did trip out a little bit, and he's like, why Poland? That's so random. And then I explained it why, and he was actually excited for me. So now for the nitty gritty. ¿Qué son boundaries? ¿Y eso qué? ¿Cómo se come o qué pedo? Boundaries are limits on your time, your emotional energy, and what you take responsibility for, and how you treat people. This is what I can do, and this is what I can't. You're not being rude. Hey, morras, real quick. Did you know I made something for y'all? Hice un simple 15-page reflection journal to help you walk through tus life shoulds without getting overwhelmed or feeling like all perdida, like Nemo. Okay, I know, hella corny. But real talk, homegirls, it's called El Journal de Mis Life Shoulds. If anything in this episode is hitting or making you rethink your choices, this journal is perfect for the next step. Short, simple, straight to the point. And the best part, I made 2 versions. The first one is a PDF if you want to sit down and write, and a Google Doc version para que puedas sanar on the go. So no more excuses, morra. Don't let your I'll start later turn into never. El link está en mi bio. Now, let me get back to this episode. You're not cutting people off. You're not being cold or acting like you don't care. There's no arguing long speech. It's hard to do this because of how we were raised. Family over todo. Respect equals obedience. Love equals sacrifice. Daughters equal helpers and emotional support. So when you try to set boundaries, you hear probably in your head, you're being selfish, you're disrespecting your parents, you're abandoning them, eres gacha for all the sacrifice that they do for you, etc. Then guilt comes in. And it's funny because some stuff like this could be also said by your family members, and sometimes that guilt comes from people who don't even deal with your family on a day-to-day basis. Ain't that a bitch? In a household that has boundaries, it looks like independence, privacy, and direct communication. You may hear things like, I can't come this weekend, I need to rest. I'll help you tomorrow, not today. And parents don't expect kids to solve adult problems. There's less guilt attached, not zero, but less. In a Latino household, boundaries often look different. Parents go to their daughters first. There's emotional dependence and why you can't. And here's a big one. Why can't you instead of can you? Once again, why can't you instead of can you? ¿Por qué no puedes? Or que te cuesta in a sense, right? Instead of puedes, totally big difference. No boundaries can look like feeling guilty when you say no, canceling your plans, answering every phone call no matter what, and feeling responsible for their stress. A lot of this is unconscious. Survival required interdependence. That obedience culture runs deep. Examples of what boundaries can look like. Instead of I'll do it whenever you need, you say I can help you tomorrow after work. Or I can't today, but I can on Friday. Instead of absorbing all their stress, all their anxiety, all their panic, I love you, but I can't handle this conversation right now. Instead of doing everything, you'll say, I'll show you once, but next time you have to try. Instead of, okay, fine, I'll do it, you say, no, I can't, without no long explanation. This is generational and cultural. Sons are protected and daughters are responsible. So boundaries feel like I'm failing as a daughter instead of I'm being a healthy adult. It's hard because you're unlearning guilt. People are used to the old dynamic and it bothers them, even if they don't say it. A lot of the time, you're doing this alone because maybe your siblings don't feel the same way and they don't want to ruffle feathers. At first, you probably feel tense. You're putting a yield sign where everyone is used to a green light. People are taken aback because you said no, but eventually it does get better. Every family dynamic is different. What works for some may not work for others. This isn't about saying no all the time or cutting people off. You also have to take responsibility for the dynamic that was created. No blame, just awareness. So morra, I don't care how old you are. The fact that we respect our family and our culture is exactly what makes it harder to learn how to set the boundaries. Don't trip if you're struggling with this. It happens to all of us, including myself. Don't let guilt trip you up. Boundaries don't mean you hate your family or your parents. If anything, they show that you're trying to improve your dynamic and not destroy it. Remember, we're learning as we go. Be healthy without losing yourself in the process. Don't let guilt trip you up. So that was kind of y'all my take on this. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I know that I have a lot of privilege because I learned a lot of tools in therapy. Todavía las estoy aprendiendo. Sometimes it is hard to stick to them because you're living under the same roof, right? And then sometimes like it sucks because you don't want to feel like you're walking on eggshells. And sometimes our parents get hella butthurt. A veces sí son bien sentidos. And it's okay to say that, y'all. Like, ay, eres bien delicada. O antes sí me ayudabas. Or the good old, pues, estás en la computadora todo el día. ¿Qué estás haciendo? ¿Por qué no seas así? Ayúdame. Acabo que tú sí puedes. It doesn't work like that, y'all. It's okay to push back. It's going to be hella uncomfortable. And this isn't about you doing this has nothing to do with you loving your parents. No, y'all, we need to learn how to separate that. It's hard, pero sí se puede. Trust me. I know that. And the reason that I say that it is possible is because I'm hella old and I still live with my parents. Yeah, there may be codependence, but at least I'm able to acknowledge and say that I see it and I'm working on it too, right? As much as you give, people also take, right? So it's a two-way street. And if they don't understand it, well, there's only so much you can do, but at least you said your piece, right? So anyways, I hope you guys like this episode. Don't forget to go to the TikTok page. And y'all, I'm going to say something. I know that my little videos están feitos. I'm going to probably take like a little course on how to learn how to like edit, maybe like on CapCut or something, because I have the free version, I think. But they're really basic. And I don't have a lot of B-roll. I cannot record myself at work because remember, y'all, I'm a temp. I'm not their employee. I work for the agency, not for them. And because it's, I deal with confidential information, no me puedo grabar. So that's why if you follow me on TikTok and you came from TikTok over here, thank you so much. Por eso nada más grabo like the sidewalk of like when I'm walking during my break or my lunch. And I did put up a couple of videos last night of like recruiting tips for your resume. Check that out because I noticed that it has really low views. Not that I'm hella trying to go viral, but I feel it's like helpful information, but I am going hella fast because I'm still trying to get the hang of like TikTok and stuff. And if you're interested in the journal that I talk about, go to the Instagram page. Shout out to my one follower that I have. And ahí está the link. Check it out. Anyways, I hope you guys like this episode, and I will catch you next time. Bye. Okay, what y'all think of that episode? Les gustó? Not so much? Did it make y'all ponder or just be like, esta morra no sabe nada? I just want y'all to feel seen and understood, not stressed out. Anyways, I'll catch y'all on the next episode, and remember, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got, by Henry Ford. Thanks for stopping by. Share, comment, and engage. Don't forget to follow this podcast on Instagram at Te Crees Muy Muy Podcast. Go engage and invite other homegirls. Let's build that community. If you want, feel free to DM me for topics. And with that, I'll catch you next time. Bye.